Hello, everyone. So, 12, okay. So we have a square EFGH has a vertex on each side of the square ABCD, and then E is on AB such that E is 7 times EB. Based on this, what's the ratio of their two squares? Okay. So the question is kind of straightforward. So you may not need really drawing this picture, but it's good to have it anyway. So I'm gonna label those A, B, C, and D. So there is a point E on AB such that AE is 7 times EB, which means E has to be close to B, right? So let's call this is E. And if I call this is X, so that will be 7X. Since we are told this is also square, then that ratio on this side has to be same on the other side as well. So we should have something right there, something right there, and something right there. So if I connect these guys, so I will get my second square. Okay, and I can label this F, G, and H. So we are looking for the area of this smaller one divided by area of the ABC. So you could see that like these triangles, since we have all these 90s, right? And the hypotenuse of those right triangles are equal, which means all these four triangles are congruent each other, okay? And you may just find the area of the larger square and subtract those four small triangles to get the area of this guy, or you can use the Pythagorean. Actually, before I say that, we need to say, since they are all identical triangles, so 1:7 ratio is also same. So this is 7x, and this is x, and this is 7x, and this is x, and 7x, and stuff like that. So we can find the hypotenuse by the Pythagorean in this triangle, and you can just find the area from there as well, which is okay. But I'll just subtract the triangle's area from the largest square to find the area of the smallest square, okay? So let's do it that way. Area of the EFGH divided by area of the ABCD is equal to area of the EFGH is just the area of the largest square, which is one side is 8x, okay, times 8x, minus, we have four triangles, right? So I can just subtract 4 times one of these, so which will be x times 7x over 2. So that will be subtracted from the area of the largest square to find the smaller one, and divided by 8x times 8x. Again, to make it easier, so you can just replace x with 1, as I said before. So that will be much easier. So 64 x squared, and then this will cancel. That will be 2 times 7, which is 14 x squared over 64 x squared, and then that is 15 x squared over 64 x squared, which is cancel each other. So 25 over 32. So I hope that makes sense. So this was our first problem. Okay, the second question. So we have players on the basketball team made some 3-point shot, okay, 2-point shot, and then 1-point free throws, okay? They scored as many points with 2-point shots with the 3-point shot, okay? So this is, let's actually kind of make a table. So what I'm gonna do, the number of like score points or number of points, number of shots, I would say, or number of like, I don't know, like 3 points or like 2 points or 1 free throws, right? So let's say this is 1, 2, and 3. Since we are told they score as many points with the 2-point shots as with the 3-point shots. If they have the same number of points, the number of shots will be inversely proportional to the point values of 2 and 3, which means, let's say we have 3x shots with 2 points, and then 2x shots with 3 points. In total, that will be 6 points in total to make the same number of points, okay? Their number of successful free throws was one more than than their number of successful 2-point shots. So the number of 2 points, okay, it says the number of successful free throws, one more than the number of successful 2-point shots. So 2-point shots is 3x, right? So which means there will be 3x plus 1 of like free throws, which each of them will worth 1 point, okay? So the point values, so this guy will be 3x plus 1, and then this guy will be 2 times 3x will be 6x points, and that will be 6x points as well. Okay, the total score is given, so let's add these guys. So that's 12, 15. So 15x plus 1 is 61. So the x is 4. Okay, and how many free throws do they make, right? So which is 3x plus 1 is what they are asking. So 3x plus 1 is 13. So you can always plug these numbers and see if that satisfies all the given information in the problem to confirm your answer, but I think that's the case. So that was the second question. So the next one, how many even integers are in between 200 and 700? Those digits are all different and come from this given set. Okay, so we want to make sure not to miss some keywords. Okay, so we like to find even numbers. It has to be different. It has to be between 200 and 700 inclusive, right? So we want to have 3 digits, but this digit should be at least 2, and then this digit should be even. So this could be anything 2, 5, 7, 8, and 9. This could be only 2 and 8. So as you see, these 2 digits is somehow like having some numbers that is possible for each digit, right? So which is why I need to take this 2 and 8 separately, because it can go here, it can go right here. So if this is right, it cannot be here. So I need to be careful. So let's assume my first digit right here, last digit right here is 2. Okay, so if this is 2, which means there is only one possible choice because I select that 2 for my last digit. And then if I do this, maybe I should take this guy. And then I can have this guy 5, 7, 8, 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So my first digit could be, actually I cannot have 8 and 9 because it has to be at most 700. So I could have 5 and nothing else. So this guy has to be 5. Okay. And let me take this guy as well. So my middle digit could be 1, 7, 8, and 9. So I have 4 choices. So that is just 4 ways I can do this. I can list them if I want to. So this is my case 1. So the case 1 was my last digit was 2, because that is one of the 2 even numbers we are given. And the case 2, okay, so my last digit will be 8. So if this is A, right, so let me take this guy, and then my first digit could be 2, 5, but not 7. So one of these 2, so that will be 2. Okay, so 2 or 5. Okay, and then let's take 2, for example. So which means we have 1, 2, 3, 4 left, right? So that should be 4, one of those 4s. So that is going to be 8 different numbers that you can make. You can list them because it's not too many. So if you add 4 and 8, so you should have 12, and that's the answer. So it wasn't too bad, but it's interestingly, we are given some huge numbers. So I hope that's clear. Okay, let's move on to the next problem. So next problem says we have a pair of standard 6-sided dice is rolled once. The sum of the numbers rolled determines the diameter of a circle. What is the probability that numerical value of the area is lesser than numerical value of the circumference? Okay, so we like to find the 2 numbers that we get on those 2 dices, right? So the area is just actually the sum of the numbers will determine the diameter. So let me call the maybe diameter as 2r. Okay, And the area of the circle is pi r squared. So let's write that first. Is gonna be less than the circumference, which is 2 pi radius. So since r is positive, I can divide both sides by r and pi, and that would be r is less than 2. So r has to be less than 2, but make sure the diameter is just the sum of the numbers that we got. So which means if I double this number, so 2r is less than 4, which is the diameter is less than 4. So when you add two numbers, that has to be lesser than 4, which is not too many, I guess. So you could have 1 and 1, which is 2. 1, 2 is like 3. 2, 1 is 3. And I guess that is it, because I cannot go with 2 by 2 because it cannot be equal. So we have only 3 ways to get something smaller than 4. And then since we have 2 dice, each has 6 possible outcomes. So 6 times 6 is a possible outcome. So probability of getting the area smaller than the circumference is just 3, is the desired outcome. The total probability is just 36. So which is why it's 1 over 12. Okay, so that is my answer. So I hope that's not too bad. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. And here's the last problem. So for now, so Roy bought a new battery gasoline hybrid car, right? On the trip, he used the battery for the first 40 miles. Okay, battery for that part. And then after that, he used the gasoline for the rest of the trip. Okay. And then using the gasoline at a rate of 0.02 gallons per mile. This is big deal. And on the whole trip, the average was 55 miles per gallon. How long was the trip in miles? Okay, so it's a bit interesting because all these are kind of mixed somehow. So, but we are told the average 55 miles per gallon. So, which means I can just take the average is equal to total, I guess, miles per like total gallon, right? Of gas, whatever. So we are told this is 55, and in total miles, we know the first part of the row was 40 miles, which is we know that piece. But the second part we don't really know, right? I'm gonna call this guy as X miles, right? So that is why the total miles will be 40 plus X. And now it's a bit trickier. So we need to know the total amount of like gas was used. The first part was used battery, which means there's no gas used. So, but the second part, we are gonna use 0.02 gallons per mile. And if you use just 1 mile, you get this much gallon of gas. But if you use X miles, so you will get 0.02 X gallon, which is interesting because this is 2 over 100, which is 1 over 50. Because the meaning of this, you use 1 gallon of gas for 50 miles, which is really nice. Okay. Anyway, so if you go ahead and solve this equation, you can just do cross multiplication and find the X. So that will be 400. Okay. So, but be careful. 400 is not one of the choices, right? And that is good because sometimes they just give that as one of the choices. So in this case, it's not given. That's good. So, but the X was the second part of the trip, which is the part of the trip that was used gasoline, which is 400 miles. And the question was asking how long was the trip in miles. So we know the first part was 40 miles on battery, and then there is a 400 miles on gasoline, which is add up to this guy, and that's the answer. So I hope that makes sense, and that was my last question for today. Okay, so I'll see you next time.